Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody.
You're considering selling a home here in Edmonton.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the weekly watch list for the week of August 3rd. I hope you guys are all doing well. My name is Richard Ajay, and I'm looking forward to tonight's weekly watch list strategy session. So today's going to be a jam-packed session. Last week was an interesting one. We had a lot of like economic catalysts and other things that move the market and earnings as well. This week we don't have a lot of mega cap earnings. We just have smaller companies that are reporting, but there's very good ones available that we are going to be watching as well. So we'll get started right away here um with the um with the game plan for the the week here. So last week was an interesting week, in the sense that there were a number of things that happened that moved the market in to the downside. Like it started well with the market rallying. So some of the events were one of the first events that happened was the FOMC meeting, which involved the Fed Chair Powell. So I'll just go to the SPY here and show you guys what went on that day. So basically, what happened was that we had, so on Wednesday, what happened was the market was so over here we had a grinding week, right? So on Monday, let me see, is this Monday? That was, so we had Monday, what's this? This Friday, okay. So on Monday we saw that we had like the market got gapped up by closed red, gapped up again, closed red on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday here we had the FOMC meeting with with Powell. So basically what happened was that there was no rate change, which was expected by the market. So the market had already priced in that there was not going to be any rate cuts in the month of July. However, the market is expecting that there's going to be some kind of rate cuts in September. However, what's caused the market to sell off on that day was on the Wednesday was that Powell kept on sounding hawkish, and he wasn't giving any assurances that there was going to be any rate cuts in the month of September. And the markets did not really like that because he kept on saying that the economy is strong, and so they are not really rushing to cut any interest rate at this time because they are not certain about the impacts of tariffs. Because the tariffs, although there have been deals that have been done, there are certain countries that it has not been finalized yet. Like with China, it has not been finalized yet. There was a 90-day extension again, so that they have some time to deliberate and figure out the best deal, right? So those ones too were there. So basically the market did not like what Powell had to say, and it caused the market to sell off, and we got a pullback in the market last week. Okay. So I'll go to the economic calendar and then go through a few things that happened as well. And then we'll go through the game plan for the week, how we plan to make money. And also I'm going to let you guys know which positions I have, which ones I'm monitoring, and then how we plan to make money this week. Okay. So last week was a fantastic week for our members, those that are in the swing trading service. We did very, very well. We had very good trades, which were all planned out, and then those guys in the day trading service as well. We had a phenomenal week, right? So yeah, so this is I'll be happy to share some of this with you guys here today, and some of the lessons. So the main goal of this live stream is to help individuals, so help everybody that is tuning into this live stream to be able to learn a few things that they could apply the following day or could apply in the future, right? So that next time if you see the same thing happen again, you can take advantage of it and you can be confident that it's going to work in your favor. Okay. So I'll go to a number of so right now what happened was that after Powell had finished his press conference, he was mentioning that, so in the summary, he was mentioning that he thinks the economy is strong, and they're still waiting on tariffs to determine if they are going to cut interest rate. On that day, the probability, like this website is the Fed website. So basically, it tells you the probability of interest rate cuts. So if you look at this, you see the target rate probabilities. It says that for September 17th, 2025, right now it has risen to 89.1%, just like 90%. So there's a 90% probability that there's going to be a rate cut in September. After Powell's speech, it wasn't certain. It was still showing that the probabilities was too low. But because of the job numbers that we got during the week on Friday, Thursday and Friday, that caused this number to go up. So this is the place where, so based on this, I believe that the Fed will start cutting interest rate, and based on the predictions, is going to be we are going to get at least 2 interest rate cuts this year. And then next year is where they are going to have multiple rate cuts. I believe they want to cut about 7 of them. Okay. Right. So that's what the market. So the market actually there was a lot of things that happened on Friday. So on Friday, the non-farm roll NFP non-farm roll payroll data came out on the employment, and we realized that the high employment numbers that were announced in the month of May and June and July, May and June have been revised, and it went down significantly, right? To the extent that the total number of jobs in May was just plus 19,000, right? Like that's non-farm payroll, right? And then June was 14,000, which was really, really small. So for them to revise something from hundreds of thousands to 19,000 or 14,000, it means that it speaks volumes. It means that the economy is slowing down, and the Fed needs to step in, because if the economy is strong and everything is right, then the Fed does not need to cut interest rates or do anything. They just need to sit back and relax. And the thing with the Fed is that the Fed is concerned about the impact of tariffs on inflation. And we saw that the Fed's favorite inflation indicator, that's the PCE inflation, last week came in a little bit higher. So it means that if inflation continues to rise, the Fed will back off and they are not going to cut interest rates. So the market did not really like Powell's press conference. And so what happened was that on Friday, the July numbers too came in at 73,000. So this number could also be reduced again in the next report. So it's looking like the economy is slowing down. And I've been saying this for many months that the US economy is going to slow down at some point, that all the indicators are pointing to a recession in the US at some point, right? And I believe that it might happen sometime in before the end of the year, maybe getting to the end of the year here. However, the only thing that is stopping the recession from happening right now is the labor market, right? So once the labor market starts cracking, then you know that it's game over, right? So that is something that, but the problem with the Fed is that the Fed is not proactive, they are more reactionary, right? They wait for things to break first and then they fix it. They don't do forecasting, they don't do a lot of things. So most of the time they miss the boat, right? And it has happened several times. Like it happened several times. So some of these things include, like in the past, if you go to the history of the Fed, it's really interesting. So for instance, the track record of the Fed has been, they have always been behind the curve, right? One example was in February 2008, before the Great Recession or the Great Financial Crisis, right? The Fed chair at the time, Ben Bernanke, right, said, we are ready to act if recession appears. But the reality was that recession had already been underway 3 months earlier, prior to that statement, right? In late 2021, uh, Treasury Secretary at the time, who was the previous what's it called? The previous Fed chair, Yellen, said that inflation will stabilize around 2 to 2.5% by mid 2022. But the reality at the time was that inflation had hit 9.1% by June 2022. And Powell at the time, during the pandemic, Powell was saying that inflation was transitory. Like it's something that is going to come and go, right? It's not really a big deal of a thing until they realize that, oh, we slacked off. Inflation has become an issue now. Then we have to step in and start increasing interest rate. They should have increased interest rate a long time ago so that it could fight against inflation after all the spending that was done during the pandemic, but it failed, right? So in June 2025, Powell, in his FOMC meeting, said that the economy continues to expand at a solid pace with strong labor markets. The reality is that in May and June, the NFP numbers are showing numbers that are worrying, that they are numbers that usually occur when the economy is going to a recession or is in a recession, right? So the thing is that the Fed has no good track record. Like the US Fed don't have good track record when it comes to this kind of things. And my fear is that the once the job market becomes worse and we get that slowdown and we get into a recession, then things are going to, like, the market is going to be affected. I mean, from last year and even early this year, um I was saying that tariffs was going to affect the US market, and we saw that happen and we got the sell-off in April, right? And then once we got to the bottom, I said, hey, the market, we are going to get a final rally. So this could be the end of the final rally. Who knows, right? I don't know, right? This could be the end of the final rally. But if these job numbers continue getting worse, then I believe that we have already hit the top. And when we were at the bottom, I mentioned that the market will go back to all-time high and make new all-time high. And here we are, we're at all-time high. So right now, what is happening is that the market is currently, like, this is called a pullback, right? So in order to get, so there's a pullback and there's a correction, right? So a pullback is something that is like 2 to 5% or within that range, right? 10% pullback from recent all-time highs or recent highs is called a correction. So all you need to do is that this number here, you see 639 or 640, you find 10% of it, right? So if you find 10% of it, you subtract that 10% from this number, and then that should give you the point where if we get like a 10% sell-off from here, then that's going to give us what is called the correction, right? But now we just have a pullback. So with this pullback, if you go back and check, you see here, this was the high, and then we came all the way down to this area. Oops, all the way down to this area. If you look left, is we got like around like around like a 2% pullback kind of thing. 2% pullback. It's not that much, right? It's not that much. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that much, because if you see the rally, so look at the rally. So this is what I've coined the term for it, the final rally, this one. This final rally. So this area. So I don't know if this is going to be the top, but if the job numbers continue getting worse, then we are going to get to, it's going to mean that we have reached the top, right? So for now, as technical analysis traders, we trade what we see, not sentiments, not the news, right? The news is just something that gives us additional information. And if it works in our favor, great. If it doesn't work, we just trade the technicals, right? Yeah. So I'll go through the key economic events that are expected to happen this week. And then from there, I'm going to go to the charts and see, break down what is happening, what happened last week, and then how I see where I'm seeing the market going in the days and weeks ahead here. Okay. So we go to this website, Market Watch. So this week is not that, it doesn't have the big events like FOMC like last week. So on Monday, we have pre-orders that comes in at 10 o'clock. That's after the market open. And then we have Tuesday, we have the US deficit. That is going to come out pre-market, so it's not a big deal for those that trade the market open. And then this is S&P US PMI, ISM services, this manufacturing, this is going to move the market in one direction or the other, right? And then you have Fed Governor Lisa Hook and Raphael, Boston's President Susan Collins on the panel here. So Thursday, like, the main thing that I'm going to be watching this week is the numbers. Again, the job numbers has been something that has moved the market last week. So everybody is going to be watching this one, initial jobless claims. And I've said for months that once this number gets to 250,000 and 300,000 a week jobless claims, then that means that the economy has entered into recession territory, right? For now, it's still teetering in recession. So if you study the business cycle, which is something that I'm going to do later in another masterclass, where we look at the business cycle. So the business cycle has accurately predicted recessions like 85 times in the US, right? Because the business cycle, businesses are what control everything, right? So if the businesses are not hiring people, then there's nobody is going to get a job, or if they're laying off people, that's what is going to cause the recession and stuff, right? So I'm going to do a masterclass on that sometime this month to go through where I see the from a macroeconomic standpoint where the US economy is going, and then we compare to the technicals. Okay. So Thursday is going to be an interesting day because if this number comes in, so the forecast is 221,000. If it comes in and it's higher than that, let's say we get 230, 240, or 250, then the market is going to sell. That's going to be serious sell-off. However, on the flip side, that's going to increase the likelihood of getting an interest rate cut fast, right? That's going to make that 89% now, maybe 95 or something like that, right? So we shall see how that plays out. But for now, these are the key economic events that we are going to look at. So it says here, the week's major US economic reports and Fed speakers, right? Friday is going to be a free-flowing day, no catalyst, anything of that sort, right? Okay. And then here, the Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic is going to be speaking at 10 o'clock on August 7th. Okay. All right. So let's go to the chart and let me show you guys something interesting here. So parallel channels are something that is really underrated in trading. So for those of you who have taken our course, like options course, stock trading course, we cover parallel channels, right? So over here, if you look at, so this is the daily chart of the S&P 500 index, right? And if you draw parallel channel, this chart connects October 2022. That's the lows of the bear market, okay? And here it connects this area. So this was a pullback in the like after we got a rally, we got a pullback here in October 2023 to the Liberation Day tariff sell-off, right? The lows, that was April 8th, April 7th. And you move it up to this area. What does it do? It touches what's the 2024 highs, November 2024, December 2024 market highs before this year's sell. And then where does it come to? It comes to this area. That's where the market sold off this week. Okay. So this was clear as day, right? This one here. So this bottom here serves as support. The top here serves as what? Resistance. Okay. So let me blow this up and then walk you through some key nuggets here. So those that have been trading with me, day trading, every single day I'm drawing this trend line, especially for the futures guys and then the options guys, right? So this trend line here, if you extend this trend line, so this is the bottom of it, this is the low of the year, like Liberation Day market sell-off lows, right? Tariff sell-off. The next point that you come to, the nearest point that you come to is here, right? This is June 25th. So when you extend this trend line, it goes to this area. So you see that the action that was taking place last week, right? The action that was taking place last week, if you look at it closely, you are going to see that it feels like the XPS or the S&P 500 was like hanging off a cliff. So it's like this is like, you have like something hanging off a cliff and doing this there, hanging off a cliff. That was what it was doing, right? And also, I also drew this trend line as well. This is what I used to draw this a lot when we were day trading, like the day trading guys in the day trading service. Yeah, this one. Like every day I was drawing it, this one, right? So here, this was a very important trend line because this trend line here was also what I was watching. This other one, I'll put it in I'll put it in yellow so that it's different. In that way, it can help you guys see what's going on there. So here I'm going to put this one in yellow, right? Put it in yellow, and you can see that one, and then see how it goes in yellow. Okay. So here is the yellow thing. So basically, what is happening here is that you have this line here, and those in the swing trading service, I even put in the general group. I told members that okay, we have broken this trend line, right? So immediately we broke this trend line. I said, oh well, we are going down. Like this is going to sell off, right? Because this was a trigger. So immediately we got this. This was on Thursday. But on Tuesday, I'd already alerted a trade and a put trade like a short where I was targeting the market sell-off, right? So I was targeting the market sell-off to the downside where I alerted SPY 630 puts expiring in August. So I just bought some time because this was grinding up. This year was grinding up every single day, just grinds up and go down. So we were able to capture a very beautiful trade here. Just in 2 days, this came here, and then we were already deep in the money with the SPY, right? So one thing that I also want to show you here is that actually I'll do that in this chart here, this one. So I'll take off the lines, and I'll show you guys what's happening here. Let me just take this off. So over here you can see that you can see that you have here you have this so it's something that I mean you guys should write down for future reference because this is something that is very, very important. Like it just tells you when the market is getting tired, right? Like, because if you look at this, you see that we've been grinding up, right? So on Monday, the reason why I took that shot was so this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. So on Monday, what did we do? On Monday, we gapped up. So those that day traded with me, the market gapped up and then sold, close red. And then on Tuesday, we got which earnings did we get on Tuesday? No, we didn't get any earnings on Tuesday. We gapped up again and then we sold, right? And then Wednesday, what happened was that we had Powell's FOMC caused the market to sell. And then what happened was that Meta and Microsoft produced outstanding earnings, which like just reversed things, right? All of a sudden, most of the losses were regained on that day because of spectacular earnings from Meta and Microsoft, right? And what happened next? So anytime you see this kind of action after this kind of extended move, it means that it's exhaustion move. It's called exhaustion move. And also, anytime you see that it gaps up itself, it means that institutions, the smart money, are offloading, right? Usually, most guys in retail who don't know the market well, what they do is that they are buying at all-time high because everywhere in the media, people are buying. They say, oh, the market is going to new all-time highs, it's rallying and stuff. So people are buying. So institutions were quietly offloading, right? Offloading their shares and selling. And then on Thursday, then we got Apple and Microsoft earnings. So Apple's earnings was good. I mean, they produced like that was one of the best earnings so far that Apple has had since in recent years, right? So they've had that was what their revenue went up and it was really good, right? However, the market was looking for announcements in the field of AI, right? What in terms of what any kind of AI announcement because Apple there were rumors that Apple wanted to buy a company called Anthropic, right? So they do AI stuff. So they wanted to acquire that company and then they will take over and they will have some kind of AI stuff in their company because all the other companies like Meta basically have hired all the key guys that developed ChatGPT. They've hired them, they've given them astronomical salaries for them to leave OpenAI to join them. So Meta is doing a lot of big things in AI right now, right? So, and Microsoft already has OpenAI that they've partnered with. They have their own Amazon to have their own AI. But Apple, for some reason, Apple does not have anything to do with AI. So the only way we're going to break out for Apple from the consolidation that I had, I'm going to go through that later, was if Apple had announced something to do with AI. Okay, we are working with this company or we are acquiring this company, that would have just sent the market like into and then Amazon reported their earnings, but the Amazon cloud computing service, the numbers were underwhelming, so it caused Amazon to sell. So that caused this year to just sell significantly on that day, right? So we got that sell, and this sell here usually in our course technical analysis, this candle here is called a bearish engulfing candle. So anytime you have a candle that engulfs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 action, right? It's called there's a bearish engulfing candle, which is the most bearish candle you can ever have in technical analysis. But if it's that's what is called a clearing. If that's a clearing event whereby it's engulfing 4 or more candles or 5 candles, right, from the previous days or previous weeks, that means that you're going to get a 90% follow through rate to the downside, right? And that's what we've got in here, right? And I believe that we can get more downside in the days and weeks ahead, right? Based on this, okay? Yeah. So that is basically how, I was able to alert this trade. I alerted the trade, the 6:30 calls. I alerted it on Tuesday, and then those in the swing trading service, we were able to capture this entire move, right? And so we sold some. We are still holding some of this as runners. Our next target is here. You see this red line here, 611. That's where I'm targeting next. So right now, SPY is at a key level, right? This is a key zone, and then we have this 617. If this 617 level breaks, then all hell will break loose. We are coming down here to the 50 at least, right? So at the 50, I think that's where we might get some kind of relief bounce on this, right? But if for any reason the market does like a 360 move where tomorrow, for instance, we get a green candle that wipes out the body of this candle, that means that we have a chance to now move up, at least to come and fill this gap. But then this trend line is going to act as resistance. So it could bump inside into this and sell. So whatever it does, any direction that it goes, we'll be ready to trade it accordingly. Let me check what the futures market is doing right now to see if the last time I checked, the futures was flat. Um the futures market is green now, just a little, just small green, like it's less than a point, right, on the SPY. So it's nothing really to write home about, right? So we shall wait and see what happens in the day. So for now, SPY is showing green. If it opens right now, it's going to open green. But it is so this level, this 617 level is going to be a key level to watch. If we break it, you know that we are coming straight down to the downside. Okay. All right. So the next thing I'm going to look at is the next one I have here is QQQ. So QQQ, we members in the day trading service, we shorted QQQ. So this, you see this red candle, we captured this move, right? We captured this move in the live day trading session, like fully guided. So here, right at the open, let me see if I can. I'll go to that one soon. Let me see if I can do that. Right at the open, we had this here, whereby so this is the daily here. I'll just go to the distance. So just one sec. So over here we have the same idea as pi, right? So we rallied up, and then we came to this area, which was a key. First off, I'll go to the weekly to show you guys something. So this is a QQQ. So the QQQ is forming what I call a bearish megaphone pattern. Okay. It's like you have a megaphone, right? If you have a megaphone and you are making an announcement, right? So this is how the megaphone looks like. So this type of megaphone patterns, usually they are bearish. Okay. So here, this is the megaphone. So this is the mouth of the megaphone. You make a announcement. This is a megaphone. So usually this type of patterns, usually they break down at the apex here, at the top here, right? So and we have what's it called? Like here we have one touch, two touch, and three touch of the trend line, right? The upsloping trend line. Anytime we have that, we get some kind of a sell-off. So if the US economy faces a recession and stuff, then we can get a deeper sell-off. Right now, it's still early days. We are not at the critical phase yet, but I'm just like providing you guys with this information to prepare you guys in advance, right? So here you have the weekly chart, okay? So if you look at this weekly chart, I like to use what is called pattern recognition, right? So this weekly, everything here, every candle here represents 5 days of trading action, right? Unless there's a holiday. Okay, there's some days that is holiday, like Martin Luther King Day and all that stuff, President's Day, all that stuff, right? So some days, that's occasionally, you are going to get 4 days, but usually it's 5 days. So if you look at this is the 9 EMA on the weekly, right? This is the 5 EMA on the weekly, right? So you see that this thing, since Liberation Day sell-off, right? Since April 25th, it has been riding this area and hasn't broken below this 9 EMA area yet, right? The last time it came here, it came down all the way here, but it did not break it. It just held and then bounced. So first, like warning shot is going to be if we're able to break this here, this 9 EMA, we break this, then it means that we have a clean shot for this to come all the way here and fill this gap, right? This area. So once we get to this area, right, that means that we have lost all this like action, right? And the reason why market sell-offs can be devastating is that there's a lot of fear and panic. And if you look at this, it's really interesting. I was analyzing it yesterday. It was really interesting. So this is 4 weeks, right? This is 4 weeks of action, right? So this is 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, right? So look at this 2 days of sell-off that was Thursday, Friday, was able to wipe out an entire month of action, an entire month of trading action. All the greens have been wiped out. So this is an engulfing weekly candle, right? So it engulfs 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week of action. So this still has legs. I don't think the sell-off is done yet, but if there's more bad news in the job front, then this is going to go down and we are going to get more sell-off to the downside. I just wanted to use this moment to explain this thing well so that next time when you guys see it, you'll be able to recognize it and take action. So for QQQ, 551 is a key level. So those in our day trading service, we day traded this on Friday, and I mentioned to members that, hey, 551, once it gets there, you have to sell because it's a brick wall. It's a brick wall of support. So if you look at this, is the low of July 16 over here, this one as well. July 14th, the close of this day, close of that day, right? 7th. And then this is the previous close. This is the close of this. So I mean, it's like a brick wall, right? So you don't just break a brick wall like that. Okay. So you need a lot of trials in order to break it. So what I think is going to happen is that maybe we might just do like a move like this, where we go up, maybe try to get here to the 20. Then with this moving average congestion, it's going to bump its head into this. And then it can come down, right? Come down here. So this is my ultimate target. This is my ultimate target for the shots that I'm holding right now. I'm looking at this as ultimate target. Like at least if it comes here, I know that okay, we are going to get now a bounce. Or if we don't, then there's a gap here. There's this gap here that needs to fill. Okay. Yeah. So these are some of the areas where I'm looking at how I'm going to look to play this, but I think that we still have some more downside. We shall see how that plays out this week. Okay, so let me go to like Bitcoin. Let me go to Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin also has also been selling off together with the market. So Bitcoin here, we had something interesting happen. Okay, so here, before this thing happened here, you got this topping tail candle. Okay, this is a topping tail candle, and this topping tail candle, when you have a topping tail candle like this, it makes it like, it makes it difficult for this to continue going up, right? So you see that this was now selling and it formed this kind of wedge here. So at this point here, if Bitcoin is able to break this support level, which is around 113 and some change, if it breaks it, then it's going to come here. So right now, there's currently a price imbalance here where this is a big engulfing candle. So we need to come all the way down here to, like, I believe that if the market continues selling and Bitcoin is also weak, Bitcoin is going to come here, this area, 110-ish, right? 110-ish, and then we can see if it's going to bounce there. So if that happens, then I'm going to be looking to trade stocks that are affected by Bitcoin's move, like a Coinbase or MicroStrategy or those kinds of stocks. Okay. Yeah. So that's the key thing for Bitcoin. So now let's go to the individual stocks that I have for this week and how I plan to make money in the week, right? So how we plan to make money in the week. So the first one that I'm looking at is that I'm sure you guys are going to say this is this is funny. But here, the first one I'm looking at is on the chopping block is Nvidia. Once Nvidia sells, everything is going to sell. Okay, so let's go to let me just take this line. So this Nvidia here, okay. So if you look at Nvidia, you can see the pattern recognition again. Nvidia has never broken below the 20 SMA here since Liberation Day thing, right? So what I'm looking at is I'm looking for, first of all, if you check the weekly is giving us a signal. You see this? This is a topping tail candle, right? So when you get a topping tail candle after a big extension like that, that means that the music has come to an end, right? The music has stopped. So here, what I'm looking to do is that, like, I know AMD is reporting, I believe, on Tuesday. If AMD does well, obviously, NVIDIA is also going to move up. But if AMD, for some reason, the report and the markets and the AMD sells, you can see this selling, right? So here with NVIDIA, I'm leaning short, okay? With NVIDIA, I'm leaning short. All these lines are going to come. Let me just go to this here. So with NVIDIA, I'm leaning short here, right? So I put my stop here. This is going to be my stop loss, right? But you just have to be careful when you're shorting NVIDIA because NVIDIA is one of the stocks that is holding the market, right? So if NVIDIA sells, then you know that the market is in trouble. UQQ, SPY are also going to sell. So over here, I have NVIDIA here. This is the high. This is the high here of this day. And what I'm looking at is that I'm looking for more downside in NVIDIA because here, if you look at this, there's a lot of price imbalance here, right? There's a lot of price imbalance here where you see green, 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 right? So we need some kind of a pullback. At least if the market is weak, continues to be weak, we can get a pullback to somewhere here, right? This area. We can get a pullback to like around 145. That is if the sell-off becomes crazy, right? We can get it. And then when Nvidia reports earnings later in August, it can now push back up again and try to make all-time highs kind of thing, right? But the thing with Nvidia is that Nvidia has like run up too much, and even when they post their earnings is going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be surprising that much because it's going to be all priced in that they're going to do well anyway, unless they come up with something spectacular, like something like what Microsoft and Meta did, then that's fine. We can get this to run. But from the look of things here, this is looking like it wants to sell. Okay, so let me go check out NVIDIA here, see what's going on. Check out NVIDIA here, and I'll show you something. NVIDIA. So this is NVIDIA Corporation. So we have here as the so this NVIDIA here. I also have the parallel channel for it. So basically what I'm looking at here is that I'm looking at, let me take this out, remove all drawings. Okay, so I just want to see something. Hopefully I can find this stuff. So if you look at this, right? The reason why NVIDIA might be in trouble soon is that this is the daily candle, right? So this is volume profile as a function of price, right? So here, if you go to the weekly, right? If you go to the weekly, that's where we see that stopping tail candle, yeah? So here we are currently at what I call a volume shelf, right? So over here, you see these two, this is a weekly. This is like a shelf, right? It's just like you plumped in on a shelf, right? If this breaks down, if we lose this area, we lose this 169, this one. If we lose this level, or no, even here, this area. Once we lose this level, 173, then we have here, we are going to fill this price imbalance, right? This is called a volume gap, right? So you are going to fill that because here we got this imbalance, right? Price imbalance here. So over here, there's a gap here, there's a gap there. So at least they fill this one. So if that happens, you are going to get QQQ and things to sell massively, right? So we are going to get this volume gap fill here to this area somewhere here, right? To 158. So that's what I wanted to flag with you guys. That you know that, hey, if NVIDIA continues selling, it can come all the way here, the area, right? And then that means that we will have cracked through the 20 SMA, and then we go further down. Okay. All right. So NVIDIA is one of them. So NVIDIA, I'm leaning short. If I'm going to be watching, I'm going to be leaning short on this. So if this 20 SMA is taken out, right? If this 20 SMA is taken out, I'll look to short NVIDIA, right? 100%. I would look to short NVIDIA, and then we can get other targets. So this purple line, that's area. So if we break below 168, 69, so that same place coincide with the volume gap or the shelf breakdown. If we break down from there, then we are going to fill that gap. We're going to come down to fill the price imbalance. Okay. So NVIDIA is one of them for a short this week. Another one that I'm looking at is Apple. Oh, Apple has been through a lot. It's crazy. Apple has been through a lot. Let me see if I can get it from here. I think I have it on this chart. So Apple has gone through a lot. It's one of the worst performance in the Magnificent Seven. So Apple here, right? This Apple. Okay. Something interesting happened in Apple. So Apple had their earnings. That was on Thursday, right? On Thursday was the earnings. Yeah, Thursday was he did earnings with Amazon, and on Friday this thing just flashed like that. So here I had what I like this, right? What I call my bow tie trend lines, right? Bow tie trend line is like a trend line where you have intersection of two trend lines. Anytime you have intersection of two trend lines at a place, it forms like a knot or a bow tie, right? So in order to break that intersection, in this case, you can see that we had what? We had double trend lines, right? This one. So if you look at it, let me go to the weekly so that it makes it easier on the eye. So if you look at this is the weekly time frame. So you have this wedge pattern, right? You have this wedge pattern here, and with this, all these trend lines. So these are zones, right? Where this has to hold. And then you have the two lines intersecting there. And what it caused was because there are two, like a bow tie, it's like at that point, it has to act as key support or key resistance, right? So here it was acting as a support until this broke, right? So it's like the stock or whatever you're trading is being strangled. And then all of a sudden, in order to break that knot or that bow tie or untie it, you need significant force. So that's how you see here, you have this long candle, engulfing candle, right? And this engulfing candle just, because Apple, if you look at Apple has been, this is the weekly time frame. Let me take off the lines. So this is a weekly time frame. You see that Apple has been consolidating for how many weeks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 weeks. It has been trading in this area, right? 15 weeks. One more week of this is going to give you 4 months consolidation, right? So at this point, this it's looking like a bearish consolidation. So we shall see how this plays out, but this can come all the way to the 200, which is going to be shameful because Apple has not really done much in this final rally, right? So from a day trading standpoint or from a swing trading standpoint, I'm looking to short Apple. Okay. For this, I mean, once you get this kind of candle, this engulfs a lot of action. So this is like a clearing bearish engulfing candle. I expect more sell to the downside. So I'm looking to short Apple tomorrow or anytime that it sets up. So maybe what can happen is that they can just look to buy this up and then pushes to this area, forming a bear flag. It's going to bump its head into this 50 SMA on the daily and then zoom. It goes down, right? Something like that. Then zoom, it goes down. So this is what I'm looking for. So I'm looking to buy puts on Apple to the downside, shorting Apple. Apple can come. There's a gap fill here somewhere. So Apple could be trading at 195 if the sell-off continues. So this is an area where once it comes here, I think he's going to look to reverse and bounce from there. But otherwise, it's going to be like this. Okay. All right. So next on the chopping block is CRM. I think they also had earnings and the earnings was not that good or something. CRM. So CRM, I've been monitoring CRM for some time. If you look at this, so CRM's trade is a very simple one, straightforward one. It's just a gap fill, right? So a gap fill trade. So here we have this like wedge pattern here form that I drew here. I broke below it, and then is at a key level. So this 250 level, if tomorrow or anytime this week, CRM is trading below the 250 mark, that means that we are going to target the gap fill here, 143. So this is like a professional trade where you enter the trade here and then you take profit here, 243, and then you are done. Any follow through after that is just a bonus, right? Then it can bring you somewhere here. I can bring you here, and then the next area is going to be here. Yeah, that kind of thing, right? So this could be a 229 stock if the market continues to be weak or in no time, right? So this also a short for the week. And for longs, I'm looking for problem child, BA, the problem child. So BA, they had earnings was okay, but for some reason the thing just sold off, right? It sold off, and then what did he do? So this was this the earnings day? Oh yeah, this was the earnings. That's post earnings. They usually have earnings in the morning. So this here, you see this candle? So this is a lesson. Today's lesson is a lesson on clearing bearish engulfing candle. So this one candle engulfed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 weeks of action, right? And if something like that happens, remember you get what 90% follow through rate. So this is what you get. There you go. So now Boeing has come to this area at the 50, right? See here, the last time price came here, take this off. The last time price came here, it bounced, right? So I believe Boeing is going to bounce here again. So I'm going to be looking to go long on Boeing. So here, buy Boeing 225, 230 calls, expiring this week or next week or etc. Right? So here my stop is going to be below there. There's the 50. So if this comes and breaks the 50 SMA on the daily, I'm out, right? So I'm going to be looking for longs on Boeing if the market is strong. But on Friday it closed green. See, interestingly, Friday it closed green. That means that the selling is exhausted, sellers are tired, the bulls have taken over, right? Even though the market was red on Friday, Boeing closed green. So that's a testament to the fact that the bulls are coming back, right? So here we got our first green candle. So tomorrow's candle, if we get something longer than that, then this is going to go. Okay. Another one that I have on my radar is CrowdStrike. So these cybersecurity stocks have been quiet for some time now. CrowdStrike is one of the leading cybersecurity stocks. But with CrowdStrike, I saw a head and shoulders pattern there with CrowdStrike. So with this head and shoulders pattern, I'm looking to see if this is going to hold this area. You see, this is the 100 SMA. Is able to hold it. If it's able to hold it, then we can get a reversal. But if not, if we lose this 100 SMA, then this can come down here to this area. See this area here, 406, and then from there we come to the 200, right? So in terms of a big swing trade, if this comes here and it holds, I'll look to buy a swing trade, buy time on it, and allow it to play out. Because these stocks are very, like, they move very well, and then they almost always come back. Like they are always going, because cybersecurity is something that is very important that we all need. In terms of now that we have apps, AI, all these things, they all require cybersecurity. So this year can continue going. So if you look at this, like there's something called measured move, right? So if you look at this, so this is the neckline. Somewhere here, right? It doesn't need to be somewhere here. So this is the neckline. So if you have something that is head and shoulders, you put it in the neckline area, you get this is the measured move, right? So this means that this has room to come all the way here, right? It's possible. So if the market is weak, this can continue coming down. We can look to short this here. But if we get a bounce, this can be a short-term bounce, and you can still get the downside as well. So this can act as both long and short. CrowdStrike. Okay. So yeah, so those are the key ones that I have here. Then in terms of earnings, I'm going to be looking at some key stocks for earnings. I trade them post earnings. So Palantir is no, before Palantir, I'll talk about HIMS. So HIMS was also one of our best performers in the swing trading service. For those that are part of the service, yeah, we caught this move. So here, on Sunday night, I told members that HIMS was one of our top tickets for the week, and I was looking for. So at that time, that was this Monday? This is a Monday. This was a Friday, right? I saw him putting what is called a bull flag, right? So this was a flagpole, this bullish engulfing candle, and then this was what we had on Friday. So on Monday, in the swing trading service, I alerted him $60 calls, right? So him $60 calls that day just like consolidated, and I told members they should relax, they should chill. The is this just like a bull flag forming here, and then on Tuesday we got this, right, this move, and then we got the breakout. So again, we have another bow tie trend line, right? So you see here, this is the intersection. So this is a downsloping trend line, this is an upsloping trend line, they intersect here. So So for the swing trading service, we captured this move from, this was alerted on Monday from here to here to this place, right? To this area. So if you look left, you are going to see so to this area, that's around, that's around 20%, right? 20% on the equity. If you are buying the stocks, you are going to make 20% return from it, okay? But with the options, we bought it for $60 calls for $2, and it went as high as $7 or $8, depending on your exit, right? So this gave more than 400% return in just a couple of days, right? And those in the day trading service, we also day traded this. And on Wednesday, I mean, we traded this on Tuesday, green. On Wednesday, going into the day in the game plan in the morning, the pre-market plan, I told members that, hey, if we're able to break above this bow tie trend line, this one here, because this like strangling the stock and preventing it from going. So if we're able to break above it, this is going to blast off and it's going to be a huge explosion, like a huge like rally. And then we got that big move. So we were able to capture this trade. Was fully guided, and the following day we also traded it again, but it just gave up here. This day was Thursday. It gave up here, but we were able to capture the move as well. So HIMS is one of the stocks that I'm going to be watching this earnings season. They produce weight loss drugs, like so. It's just like if you want to lose weight, you can get their medication. It suppresses your appetite and stuff, and then it causes you to lose weight, right? So just like Ozempic, right? So Ozempic is popular, but just like Ozempic, you have HIMS. And they had a partnership with Novo Nordic, right? But for some reason they canceled it. They fired the Novo Nordic CEO because they said the contract was not a good deal. And yeah, but these guys are reporting earnings on Monday at the close. This is what I expect to happen. So it's two things. AIMS is currently at all-time highs, okay? Close to all-time highs. Usually when a stock has run up like that to all-time highs, by the way, in one of the weekly watch list meetings, we talked about this move here, this explosive move here, with a breakout. So those that attended, they were able to take this trade during that time in April and capitalize on the move. So over here we have, so this was a classic cap and handle. So this was a handle and this is the breakout. And then you have this top and tail candle here. So this top and tail candle is speaking something, it's telling us that, okay, maybe this is now the earnings run has been priced in. So in order for this to go up post earnings, they have to produce like an extraordinary type of earnings. It doesn't need to be basic. If it's just average or minor beat or whatever, I expect him to sell, right? Expect it to sell. But if it's spectacular earnings like Meta or Microsoft, then this is just going to blow off. Like it's just going to go to $80 or $90 or something crazy like that. So yeah, so we are going to be monitoring this closely. This one of the stocks that I'm going to be watching closely in the earnings season. Yeah. Next one is in the AI space. AI space is Palantir. So Palantir too is one of the stocks that is overvalued, right? The PE ratio is in the 400s. The last time I checked, right? It's ridiculous, right? So this year, this is forming like, this kind of rising wedge kind of thing. So here, I see this doing similar. I see a similar setup like Amazon before earnings. So this Amazon here. So Amazon too had the same thing. If you look at Amazon, it's Amazon here. So connect these trend lines. It was somewhere here. Whoops, somewhere here. Amazon did that, and then now we have this here. So you see the same thing happening. So you see the same setup, right? Same rising wedge setup. Rising wedge setups are usually bearish. And look at what happened to Amazon. It sold off is sort of like more than 10%, right? More than 10% sell-off. Okay. More than 10% sell-off. So I mean, earnings, nobody knows what's going to happen unless you work for the company. You don't know, right? So I'm just looking at it based on, I'm comparing what happened elsewhere to that, right? But if in order for them, because this run, like any kind of earnings that they report, it has to be extraordinary in order for Palantir to break above this 161 level. If they just report something basic, the earnings run has already been priced in. Don't be surprised if you see Palantir at this area, at the 50, right? Post earnings. So that's one of the earnings that I'm going to be watching. One of the most anticipated earnings that I'm going to be watching here. And I'm going to look at that closely. And once I can trade it post earnings, etc. So here, Palantir is one of them. Next one that I have on the radar here, that's going to be on a Tuesday, is going to be AM Diesel. So AM Diesel has run up a lot, right? So I mean, I feel like AMD deserves to also rally, to do well. So over here, we are at a point where this is at like a critical level. So if he's able to break above this 180, 89, 187, yeah. If AMD is able to break above this 187 post earnings, then he has a clean shot to come to all-time highs, right? So for AMD, two things can happen, right? It can either shoot up to all-time highs or it could just sell, right? So whichever way it slices, it depends on what happens on the day. But Meta has partnered with AMD. So what I'm going to be watching is that Meta has partnered with AMD because AMD chips are cheaper than NVIDIA chips, which is overpriced, right? So in the Facebook founder speech in the earnings, he said that they are entering into an era of frugality. Frugality, meaning that they are not going to spend crazy amount of money to buy expensive NVIDIA chips. So because of that, they've partnered with AMD, and this is going to help AMD in the AI space to help them grow. Because of that, AMD has also increased the cost of their chips, right? Not significant as high as not as high as NVIDIA, but they've increased their chip revenue, right? In terms of how much they charge to sell those chips. So if you increase how much you charge and you have a very good contract with a company like Meta, which is looking to revolutionize AI and dominate, then it's going to help them in their earnings, right? So I'm going to be watching AMD closely in this earnings to see how it works out post earnings. So I don't know. I mean, again, with AMD, it has rallied a lot. Look at this from year to year. That's a significant rally. So I don't know where it's going to go, whether it's going to go up or down. So earnings, trading earnings and stuff is like, it's risky, it's lotto, but what you need to do is that if you want to trade it and have control, you want to trade it after the earnings. After the earnings has come out and everything has cooled down, you can read and know what they reported, and then you can trade it yourself, trade it accordingly in what I call the earnings reversal trade. Okay. All right. So another one that I'm going to be watching as well, which has been consolidating and waiting in the AI space, is SMCI. Right. So SMCI broke through these trend lines. This one to consolidate it for several weeks, and now it's coming back to the scene of the crime here, right? So I believe that SMCI needs to post good earnings, right? And the earnings have to be like correct earnings, and they shouldn't be, because this company were accused of cooking their books, right? So they have some fraudulent numbers that they were posting. So I hope this time around they've cleared all those things and they can post very good earnings. So if the earnings is good, so by the way, one of SMCI's main clients is NVIDIA. So they are into hardware, AI hardware. So I see SMCI breaking out. If the earnings is good, we can get the breakout, at least breakout to above this 66 level and then go. So I'm going to be watching SMCI as well this earnings time. Another one that I believe they are reporting next week is Upstart. So Upstart is a stock that I'm watching as well. Again, I see this one. I'm going to look to like trade it after the earnings. If Upstart is able to break above this trend line, so this trend line has been here for years, right? Is an old trend line. It's been here since 2022, I believe, right? Where is it? Yeah, since 2022. So this has been a 3-year trend line. So if you're able to break a 3-year trend line, it's going to be lead to what I call a weekly squeeze, right? Because that's a weekly level. It's going to cause a weekly squeeze. So Upstart is an interest rate sensitive company. So in September, once they cut interest rates, Upstart is going to benefit and it's going to go up. So if they're able to sustain their earnings and they produce something good and beat, this is going to go up post earnings when the earnings is announced. Another one that I'm watching as well for earnings this week is AppLovin. So with AppLovin, what's happening is that it has a high like short interest. Like a lot of people are shorting this stock, like 20%, right? Like high short interest. So this is one of the stocks that I believe it can do a Reddit kind of move, right? If you look at Reddit earnings move, like it did 20% push in one day because of the DNA of the stock. So if you're taking our costs, we cover what I call the DNA of a stock, right? When you have outstanding shares less than 500 million, then it causes the stock to move easily. It becomes a lightweight stock. So it can move easily, it becomes volatile, and then the beta, which is like what determines volatility, is high, right? So here you see how this gapped up like that post earnings, right? I expect AppLovin to do the same thing if the earnings is good. And it's setting up well from a technical standpoint. Okay. So AppLovin is something that I'm going to be watching as well to see how it does through earnings. So I'm not going to be surprised if AppLovin is trading at 425 post earnings. You just do like a big move like that and boom, it's gone. Right. All right. So another stock that we have traded in the past is this Celsius. We also have earnings coming up this week. This one here, we had a swing trade on it. I told members that this thing can go to $50. So it came all the way here. We bought this swing trade. This was in, I think, in June or May. So it came close to the $50 level, but it has since declined, right? So now it's pulled back. If the earnings are good, this can go up, swell, and then bounce from here because this is like a double bottom kind of thing. And close to 50, it can bounce. Okay. Yeah. So the other stocks that I'm going to be watching here, we're almost done here. I'm going to be watching the other stocks that I'm going to be watching here is if the job market becomes like bad and like the recession fears intensifies, the smart money will start moving to recession-proof businesses, right? Like businesses that when there's recession, people don't have a choice. Like if there's recession, you don't have a choice. You have to go buy food, right? You have to do groceries. So you go to a store like Costco or other places to see what's going on there. Okay. So one of the tickets that I'm going to be looking at, I think they have earnings coming up late August. So DG, Dollar General. So in times of recession, so this like another brand is just like your local dollar store. So in times of recession when money is hard, what happens? Individuals will go to like, stores like dollar store to get a deal. Okay. So these stocks are going to do well if we get into a recession, right? Because these are recession-proof businesses. So over here we have Dollar General. It did this move, sold off, and then it's holding here. So Dollar General has room to push. Like as long as it doesn't break this 103, this can push to come here, 116, and then it can move from there. So Dollar General, I'm looking to get like a long on this, depending on when it sets up. Like this could be a good swing trade, swing trade it, right? And the competitor of Dollar General is Dollar Tree. DT DLTR. DLTR. So here, this one also, like, it did this rally here, it sold off, it came back down, and it held here. So this is a breakout zone, right? So this looks like some kind of a bull flag here. So I believe that if we're able to break, if this is break above this level here, 115, Dollar Tree has room to push, and I believe it's going to come. It can come all the way here to this highs over here. Okay, so Dollar Tree. Yeah. So and what else? So I'll give this one to this one here as well. I mentioned it already. Costco. So Costco, this Costco, right? So Costco is a stock that's, so this is a Costco, this is a falling wedge pattern. Okay. I like this for a long. This is a beauty, right? I like this for a long. So if we go to the weekly time frame, it's very beautiful. So you see this is a falling wedge. These are trend lines that have held and have held this level. So it came here, bam, it bounced. It came here, now it's bouncing now. So what I'm looking to do is I'm going to look to get longs here, like call options, and then because this stock is still trading below the 200, right? And I believe they have earnings coming up in September. So from now to September, if the economy gets bad and stuff, you are going to see a stock like Costco rally. And if you look at this falling wedge here, so it came, bumpy said it came back down, held the mid-range, came back down here. Now it's holding, now it's looking to go. So tomorrow, if this is able to trade above 955, it's going to shoot up. And we can come here to the 200, then the 100, and on, right? So this is a good one. This is a good setup for a falling wedge, setup for a long. So here, I put my stop below this. If this thing comes and breaks this bottom here, then I'll be out. Okay, right. So that's about it for the tonight's game plan, like game plan for the week. So let me see if there's any questions in the YouTube live here. Let me see if there are any questions, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. I'm not seeing any questions here. So if you have any questions, please type your questions. Type in here any questions. Type in here any question. If you have any questions, feel free to type it here. But otherwise, we have everything covered, everything ready to go. So yeah, so those that are trading with us, you are going. So again, if you want to trade with me live, like every day, we just trade 1 hour a day, right? So we don't need to stay in the market for the whole day. It's irrelevant, right? So what we do is that, so you go to our website here. I'll show you how to sign up. So this week I've already so you come here, tradingrich.com, right? Tradingrich.com is easy to find, Trading Rich, and you go to the courses, click on the courses. So here is our swing trading service. So if you want to multiply your money on a weekly basis in a swing trading, if you are working 9 to 5 and you are busy and you want to multiply your money on a weekly basis, this is where to come, right? This is your service, right? So over here, what I do is that every Sunday, I post my top three tickers. Top three, like which ones I'm looking for. Which top three tickers I'm going to be trading. I'm going to be swing trading to make money from, right? And last week we had the three tickets we had, two of them really did very well. Hims was one of them. That's one of our top watches last week, and I illustrated what it was, and you guys saw that gave us like 20% move just on the equity, and in the options we got more than 400% gain in that, right? And another ticker that I alerted as well was SPY puts, right? SPY puts, and I also had this ticker, this one, VVX. VVX tracks the the S&P 500, right? So this is a SPY, right? So this is the VIX. So here, coming into the week on the Sunday of last week, I told members that I have a feeling that the market is going to sell based on technical. So I explained why I believe the market was going to sell. And here we are, we got the sell-off, right? So this one here, basically what happens is that anytime the market sells off, the VIX goes up. And this was at all-time lows, right? This was at all-time lows. This was on Friday. Friday was at all-time lows. And then on the Monday, it was still red on the Monday. So I alerted the trade on Tuesday. So on that Tuesday, and I told members that, hey, this is a low risk trade. The reason why I say it's low risk is that if you look at this is like all-time lows. Where again is it going to go? How low can this go to? That's the question you have to ask it. So you see where the red line is, the $40 level, that was where our stop loss is. So we're able to capture this gain here. This from here, which is like Tuesday to this area. And we are still holding some runners. So on the equity of this is what 15%, like 15% and some change, right? 15% move. And in the options, like we bought time on the options went to 250%, 300%, depending on where members exited. So we're still holding this because we think I believe that there's still going to be more downside and we can still capture the move. So we've sold majority of our contracts and we're just holding runners. So even if those runners go to zero, it doesn't really matter. Like we've already made money and we are not going to lose on that trade. Okay. So here, if you want to get these alerts sent to you directly to your phone and stuff like that, then this is a service for you, right? And it's very, very affordable. This is like $47 a month, right? And most of our members, within a week, they make their annual subscription from this, right? Last week, we got HIMS 450% or 500%. We got VVX 250%, SPY 200 and something percent, and we still have lots of time on their contract. So even if you put $1,000 in any of these trades, $1,000, if you made 400%, that's 4x, $4,000 return. And we are talking about USD, not Canadian dollars, right? USD. Everything that we do here is in USD because we trade the US market. So basically, what I do is that every day, every week, this Sunday, we have already posted the top three tickets, and those tickets are really, really, really looking very juicy, ready to go, man, ready to go. So I posted like up to three tickets, and the game plan on how we are going to trade them was the options price, everything, right? And then you are going to get access to our swing trading course. And so here, this Sunday, emailed and uploaded to your members portal. And then once I take the trade with my money, I tell you, hey, I took this trade. So it's not financial advice, right? I take this trade with my money. This is how much I bought it for. This is the price. Feel free to jump in, right? Kind of thing. And then I provide updates. So if I take profit here, I say I've taken profits. I'm holding this. Example, I've sold, like for instance, the SPY. I sold 80% of my position and I'm just holding 20%, which is like we've made enough money. So what is left, even if it goes to zero, we are still going to be green, right? So that's the thing. We closed the HIMS position because it was expiring on Friday. We closed everything on Thursday, right? So And everything I let you know, hey, I've closed this position. At the end of the day, I tell you what positions I'm still holding. I update. What are my current positions? I list everything so that you can follow. So as long as you can follow instructions and you know how to buy, call, and post and stuff, you can make a killing from this, right? So that's what it is. So here you can come in here, you can, get the I'll post it in the chat here. You can get the link. You can come pay for it. You can pay for it here. So these are two options. So you can buy the annual membership. So most of our, like, 99% of our members within the first week, they're able to make their annual subscription times two, times three, right? And they're able to, like, so it becomes more or less like free, because if you're making your annual subscription and you just even pay for only 1 month, then you are profiting from it, right? That's what it is. So that's the swing trading service. And we also have another one where it's a day trade. So if you want to be somebody that wants to make money, wants to make money on a daily basis. So this is for weekly trades, right? This is for weekly trades where we just trade on a weekly basis. And we so I'm going to post the swing trading link there. So I put the trading link on the YouTube, and you guys can go there, and then those that are interested can take action and sign up, right? If you sign up tonight, you are going to get the top three tickets that are going to be trading this week. And then once I take the trade, I'll alert it and you take it. But you have the information in advance. So you can, if you already know how to trade, you can execute it before even I alert it. Okay. Then the next one is the day trading. So if you want to day trade with me, so this is live day trading session where we trade 5 days a week, every single day. So we trade both options and futures. So options and futures trade. We trade both options and futures, and everything is captured. So over here, you will see like so every morning at 8:45 a.m. we do like the game plan of how we make money that day, what stocks we are looking to trade, what futures tickers we are trading, and the options price, everything is all well outlined. And then we take the trade. So usually most of the trades that we've done, we are done like within the first hour. Like on Friday, within half an hour, we were done, right? So if you look at Friday, so here, this one costs 97 USD per month, or you can buy the weekly one. If you buy the yearly subscription, you get 2 months free. So you only pay for 10 months. So if you look at, let me go to the SPY or QQQ, like QQQ, yeah. So QQQ, for instance, I'll show you what happened in that trade, and then we can wrap up here. So here, let me go to the stop for the day, this one. So look at this. So on Friday, going into the market open, I told members that, hey, you know what, this thing at the open, this was just a very straightforward trade. So at the open, I told members that if for any reason we break pre-market low, we are going to go short, and then we are going to hold I mean, we are going to sell some along the way, but we are going to hold the position with diamond hands to this area, this 551. So over here, if you look at this is a trade here. So this was go here. So this was a beautiful, beautiful trade at the open. So right at the gates, like at the open, let me see here. So right at the open, within the first 5 minutes, we already knew that nah, this thing is going to be this thing is going to be gone, right? So if you look at this, first 5 minutes. So here, first 5 minutes here. So at the open, I told members, hey, wait for the first 5 minutes candle to close. If this first 5 minutes candle closes below this level, this is the pre-market low, 57 38, then we are going to look to short this. We are going to target this area. So from here, so some members entered here, like I even entered here once we cleared this. I put my stop here. So from here to this point, this was a 5 point drop in QQQ. This is like a 6 point drop in QQQ, right? So 6 points is equivalent in the I traded this one in futures with the NQ, is equivalent to 240 points. For 240 points, even if you capture 200 points, each point move in your favor is $20. So that trade alone, this one alone, was a $4,000 trade just with one contract. So if you have 10 of those contracts, that's 40 grand. 5 of those contracts, that's 20 grand. So that's the power of like day trading and knowing what you're doing. So here members just crashed it. Like, see, look at that. Look at where by 10 o'clock Eastern, we were done. I told members, hey, guys, the easy money is gone. But I say hey, we can still capture the long here. So we caught the short here. And I said this was a break wall. I don't think this is going to break here. And then what do? We got so in our trading system, we have what is called the events, right? This is one of the events where it's showing a reversal. So we got this bottoming tail candle, and then we flipped the switch. We flipped from short to long, and then we captured this move. And I told members that this is going to stall out here. See here? This red line is going to stall out in this area. So once it gets here to pre-market low area and then the 50 EMA sell. So within an hour, most members were done with their trade. I mean, those that some did not take this one, but most members were done with the trade. So if you want to trade with me live every single day, so you can do the swing trading, which is weekly, where you can multiply your money on a weekly basis. And then if you want to, you can make money too on a daily basis as well. Every single day, you come and pull money from the market, then this is the service for you. So I've posted the links here in the chat, so everybody can get access to it and take action. So yeah, so if there are no any other questions, I've done for the night here. We'll look to trade with members tomorrow morning. Have a great trading week here. We shall meet you guys again. I'll meet you guys again next weekend. Bye-bye. Bye for now. I'm going to post this here. That's the day trade. Bye for now.